Running so long it's like alchemy.
And the Warriors absolutely own the Clippers. There's definitely a daddy complex brewing between these teams. Draymond really just owns Blake Griffin. He's in his head. And early on, it was Steph doing what he does. Now, Pat Beverly used to really bother Steph Curry earlier in his career, not any longer. And then ever since KD joined the Warriors, he had to learn to Euro step past the hater like he's Rondo. And there's just something going on psychologically where the Warriors come into the Staples Center and they feel like it's home. Now, Danilo Gallinari led the way with 19 for the Clippers. And you see him get tangled up with D. West. D. West definitely not the one you want to get tangled up with. If there's someone in the league, it ain't D. West, right? But again, back to Blake Griffin. There's almost like a little brother, big brother complex between these two where even though Blake is the more physically talented and skilled player, Draymond is just in his head. He wanted no parts of it. And then look at the rookie even on him. He was settling way too much for outside shots, only attempted 10 shots on the night, most of them from the perimeter. And it was clear the Warriors heard the whispers. You can tell they were locked in and engaged from the active hands, the defensive rotations. And it was like a little quick flex statement again. Clay, big boys, Austin Rivers at the rim. Should have got the and one. But I really didn't like Doc Rivers' rotation, if you want to be honest about it. Look at Steph patting behind the back. And then is this a floater from behind the free throw line? I guess you'd call that a runner. It didn't matter. Anything he put up, it was dropping. Again, chicken soup when the Warriors come to the Staples Center. It's a second home, a home away from home. Shame on the Los Angeles bandwagon fans. Steph cooking. He had 31 points on the night and 6 assists. We all know he's a Christian man. He can't be crossing people like that, but he did. The Warriors answer back on the back end of a back-to-back in LA. All right, y'all, that was pretty much to be expected, right? I mean, I didn't check the Vegas lines, but you would assume it'd be a double-digit line considering Golden State losing and the way they've owned the Clippers. Those of you new to this, what used to be rivalry, if you remember, or you don't, a Mark Jackson-led Warriors team and a young Steph Curry kind of got thumped by Chris Paul and the Clippers in the playoffs the first year they made the playoffs. Chris Paul, there was a big brother complex, mentioning that again, where Chris Paul, you know, they're both from Carolina and they've known each other, and the Clippers really were physical and just kind of dominated the Warriors. And then the pendulum swung the other way, really, when Draymond became one of the leaders of the Warriors. If you remember that weird scene where Draymond is running down the court and he sticks his tongue out at Blake Griffin, man, anyway, Blake, and then I go back to this complex where styles make fights. Draymond, I think part of it, him being a smaller forward, Blake's not able to use some of the athleticism he's used to using against other 4s and 5s. But there's a huge psychological factor where Draymond has just bullied him for years. Now it's going on like 10 straight wins for the Warriors. So, and then you compound that with the fact that, you know, there's a lot of Bay Area transplants in Los Angeles, Staples Center, Clipper games, still easier to get tickets to Clipper games than Laker games. So you've got a partial 50-50 crowd, and the Warriors, they just get loose. So it was a perfect matchup for Golden State after that disappointment against Detroit. And I really want to commend Draymond in this game because he was the catalyst, I felt. I felt like, damn, he's listening to Alchemy or something like that. Because if you watched him when he rebounded the ball, he was much more cautious. He surveyed the floor. He dribbled. He pushed the ball at the right pace, but he took a few more dribbles and got a little deeper into the defense, which opened up the passing lanes. And not only did he do that, he had probably more layups and finishes around the rim, a lot of them with the left hand, in the first half of that game than he's had all season long. So Draymond making the proper adjustments and the Warriors clearly valuing the possession a little more, taking things a little more seriously. Defensively, they trapped Blake. They were crisp in their rotations. You saw JaVale McGee get heavier minutes. And then, you know, Nick Young and Caspi got minutes in the fourth quarter when it was a blowout. And then Steph was due, let's be honest. Steph was due. He's shooting in the low 30s from three-point range. And I do wonder a little bit if all that weightlifting in the offseason, man, I know people have kind of tuned that theory out of, you know, weightlifting messing with your shot. But I can tell you from experience, without a doubt, if I do heavy compound lifting, deadlifts or squats, for the next 48 hours, it just takes me longer to find my touch. Absolutely. I just know that from experience. So there may be a little bit of that along with the lackadaisical play early to start the season for Steph's three-point shooting slump. But damn, he shot out of that shit hella quick last night. That was clean. Let's talk a little bit about the Clippers now. You know, where they did, I made mention to it last video, and you see it that they seem to be having a little more fun, a little more loose without you-know-who Chris Paul there. But where they did miss Chris Paul was, when they took that initial gut punch from the Warriors, there was no dog. There was no second win. No guy that was like, and, allowed them to battle back. You would think it would be Pat Beverly, but Doc only played him like 24, 25 minutes. And I think that he needs to play Pat more in order for the team to take on some of his personality and some of his dog. Of course, Austin played 30 minutes, Doc. Austin played 30 minutes. And if you look at that trade, on paper, the Clippers, they should go 10 deep. Doc needs to go deeper. And I'm sure that's not the first time he's heard that in his life. But the facts are facts, y'all. Facts are facts, y'all. We talking basketball. We talking basketball. But Sam Decker, Montez Harrell, a perfect energy guy, kind of like a Kenneth Farid type of player out of Louisville. And when you're down 15, 20 points, those are the type of guys you need to inject into the lineup. Maybe a Bryce Johnson, a Wes Johnson. Come on, man. Wes Johnson is one of the most disappointing talents I've seen in the last 10 years in the league, man. Another Minnesota burner, if you will. But so I didn't like Doc's rotation, and I felt like they quit a little too early. But again, there is a huge psychological factor with these two playing each other. They're in the back of their minds, they don't think they can beat the Warriors. And so that's a huge problem for them. Again, it was just one game, sample size. Doc, use your depth. What else here? Y'all see the new shades, man? Shades, what the fuck? Specs, glasses. Y'all see the new glasses here. Shout out JINS, Union Square, San Francisco. Get your glasses in 30 minutes or less. Tell them Alchemy sent you. They're all big Warrior fans in there. Go check that out. Happy Halloween, y'all. I don't know. It was spooky last night. What y'all gonna do tonight? I'm gonna kick back and chill with the kids. You know what I mean? I got the day off. I am blessed. Oh, should I edit that out? Nah, Alchemy, keep it real. But anyway, you know what to do. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.